Hey everyone, it's Crystal Neath, your intuitive tarot reader, and I'm here with your August 4th, 2019 daily tarot reading. In this reading, I'll be picking up on the overall energy of the day. This reading is for every and anyone who is open to spiritual guidance. So the first card we have is the King of Swords upright. We have the Moon in reverse and the Five of Swords upright. Okay. You all, I feel like if a person is not comprehending what you are trying to explain to them, it makes no sense to keep trying to explain it to them, because it becomes not so much, them being able to comprehend, and it becomes more so of them not wanting to comprehend and them not wanting to hear your point of view, whether it's a political point of view or a religious point of view or just an emotional point of view. So for whatever reason, I feel that today is a good day to, some days it's best to kind of go outside of our comfort zone and talk to people that are different from us and, hear what they have to say. But it's not giving us the best energy of them being open to it. So today is a day to really surround yourself with people who are like-minded, okay, to say the least. And I'll explain why. So the first card we have is the King of Swords, and he is very logical. He is very picky about who it is that he gives his time, effort, and intellect to. He might just sit back, and a lot of times he's the one who can really, give a mouthful at a dinner party, talk it up, explain all of his logical reasons as to why he feels the way he feels or believes what he believes about certain things. But in other times, he's the King of Swords. So he's learned it's better to sit back, because you learn more listening. And the King of Swords upright is saying that, yes, this is a great day for communication and really talking to ourselves. Sometimes you have to check yourselves and, have a conversation with yourself. Sometimes this is a positive energy of writing, okay, communication, all of that. But once again, the King of Swords is not trying to convince he's vegan, okay? He's not going to try to keep convincing someone who is anti-vegan on why they shouldn't keep eating red meat and they have diabetes, okay? After he's explained it once, he's not going over it again. He's probably not even surrounding himself with people who are that, I guess you could say, low vibrational to where they're not open to information. Because he does value information. He wants the facts. He wants the logic behind things. It needs to add up, okay? It's not to say that he can't be spiritual at all, but it has to still be proven in some way for him. So if you do have a Libra, Aquarius, Gemini person, this is the strong energy today. This is what's going to help us. Okay, I logically know that my husband has never given me a reason to not trust him. He's never done anything. I'm just hypothetically speaking. He's never, and I mean, it's true. I do feel this way, but I'm just using it as an example. But all of a sudden, he didn't call me back. And now my mind is going. Now I'm starting to think, oh, is it somebody else? Does he want someone else? Is he doing this? Even though I know that he's never done anything to make me logically have the validation behind it. But because we understand how sometimes our intellect and our intuition, or our insecurities and our intuition, can get misconstrued, it can easily happen. So you want to be logical today. Not saying you can't trust your intuitive senses, but you can trust your intellect a lot more. If you feel something, I'm not saying don't go with it, but question it. Ask yourself questions. Call someone else and ask them, are you tripping? Does this make sense? Am I coming from a place that, am I sounding crazy right now? Or is this really happening? Okay. Because once you sort some things out and you're like, oh, wait, you call that friend up and you say how your husband didn't call you back. And then all of a sudden that friend is like, wait, but didn't you tell me last week that he had that big engagement that night and he told you that he would call you the next morning? And then it's like, oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I know that's a weird example, but you get what I mean. It's like once you break things down, it's like, okay, yeah, I was wrong about that. That was an insecure moment. Okay, so keep that in mind with the King of Swords upright. Clear communication. If you want to know, ask. You have to know. You have to have clear communication. And clear communication is not arguing. It's not trying to convince someone who is from a total different background than you to believe and convert into your ways, okay? But you could explain to them why you feel the way that you feel. One of my really good friends, she always says, that's a very valid point, but can I think she says, like, can I interest you in another perspective or something like that? A very elegant way of saying, okay, but can I tell you why I feel, and that person is a little bit more open to listening. Okay. Now, the next card we have is the Moon in reverse. Okay. And this is all that energy we felt yesterday, that situation. If a person has always been a thief every time they come to your house, why do you keep inviting them over? I don't care if it's a year later or 2 years later. If they are still that same person and you feel it, and you just keep thinking they're going to change, even though they keep logically showing you that they're not, at some point, wouldn't you stop? Okay. So the Moon card deals with letting go of anxiety, fear. It relates to that Nine of Swords too, that we were having a few days when we were talking about the sleepless nights and the anxiety and the stress building, and boom. Okay. So the Moon card is saying it's cleansing, it's leaving this. We take things day by day. The moon cycle is what we follow a lot of the times. So yes, I'm sure that some point this week something was brought to your attention that you weren't looking for. Some information, another piece of the puzzle, releasing, maybe for a lot of you, releasing a lot of your stress, anxiety, pain, standing up for yourself and letting go of, the things that were keeping you captive within your own mind, stressing over that, fiance who just isn't acting accordingly and who isn't coming home, and you finally let it go. So if you let it go, why are you bringing it back up with the Five of Swords here? If you're releasing all this drama and the secrets that were exposed and you've come to terms with everything, why are you bringing it back up? It's nothing wrong with keeping clear communication and talking things out. But if talking constantly leads you to an argument with the person and nobody ever wins, and you find yourself left in a place of anxiety, fear, or stress, that says a lot about the relationship. Are you dealing with this person, or are you dealing with this person? Are you dealing with the man or the woman in your life who wants to hear why you logically feel the way you feel? Or are you dealing with the person who wants to argue and tell you why you're wrong? And I did it because you did this. And, you shouldn't have been looking at this and you wouldn't have felt that way. Instead of just saying, you know what, babe? I see why you feel that way. And even though I wasn't cheating and I wasn't trying to hurt you, I understand where you're coming from. It won't happen again. Versus, you're paranoid, you're insecure, you're always doing this. And this is why I cheat on you. And this is why I'm leaving you. And it's like, it's combative. Okay. The Five of Swords, long story short, you all, is winning at nobody wins. Okay. It's the argument that nobody wins. Okay. It's like, okay, yeah, this guy just beat up all these people. He left him crying and he finally gave up. But what does he really get at the end of it? After a huge argument, what do you really get? Satisfaction for a moment, just to get back into another position to where the argument is sprouted up again, or you're dealing with another situation of tension. So overall, honestly, I feel like this is really a good day. I just think it's a day to where you have to do logical things like read a book, write, communicate, sing, talk to a person who always wants to hear your point of view, even if they totally disagree, but they still value your opinion. Where you'll go wrong today is if you think you can change someone's, way of being, and you've seen that when you've tried to introduce them to a new perspective before, they weren't open to it, and then you cause yourself more anxiety. I really think it was more so yesterday was a heavy day and we're coming out of this. Don't allow that person to call you back and argue with you again. Don't allow your mind to go to a place that was a false reality. With the whole example I used with the husband and thinking he was doing something, he wasn't even doing anything, and now don't go back to that. Okay. Yes, we might see people more chatty on Facebook, Instagram, talking about each other and doing things like that. But ultimately, you have to play the position of the King of Swords, Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, higher energy. If you notice, he's looking straight at this camera. All of this mess, he has nothing to do with. It's not his energy. It vibrates too low. He wants nothing to do with it, so he doesn't deal with it. He focuses on himself and his sharp mind, okay? So if we focus on ourselves, get a hold of a Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, masculine energy or feminine energy, it doesn't matter. Anyone who keeps you like, oh, you know what, Francie, that's why I knew I had to call you. Anybody like that, that's who you want to deal with today, okay? Not your polar opposite, because it might turn into an issue. And if, just hang around friends and family members who get along with you. Don't try to push it. With that being said, you all, I hope this helped in some way. If you ever need to get a private reading with me, you can always do so by emailing me at crystalneath@gmail.com. Besides that, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.